Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today we got Lady C's book. We're picking up on Meghan and Harry, the real story. We are on chapter 2 and I'm excited to talk about it. Today we'll be talking about the history, some of the details of Meghan's upbringing, some of the details of Harry's upbringing, and just how much I'm enjoying the heck out of this book. So without further ado, let's dive in. Just a huge thank you for being here. If you want to further support the show, check out Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. We have a lot of fun over there. It's a great group. We're having lively discussions in the comments. Jay and I have been breaking down interviews given and different things that have popped up in the news with Harry and Meghan, so I definitely encourage you to check it out. I will be thanking my executive producers, and if you're interested in becoming one, again, patreon.com. Okay, so we pick up with chapter 2 in this book. And I gotta say, coming off Courtiers, which I did love that book, it was just very dry. That is the complete opposite of what's going on here. I think Lady C just has a way of writing that sucks you in. She's kept my interest up, and I'm super excited. Now, on a personal note, I don't love when we go into the backstory of Meghan or Harry, for that matter. I feel like I've researched it to death, and I'm kind of over it. So, to save my sanity and yours, I'm going to skip over the boring parts, but there are some highlights I'd like to touch on in this chapter. It is a longer chapter because it does go through Meghan's history. It goes through Harry's history. We've all heard that stupid soap story a million times, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details because you know it, right? We're all here. We know this story. We've heard it a million. It's like Meghan's only party trick. She likes to tote that story out. So we've heard it. Let's move on from that, but I do have some highlights that I want to hit. Here I am saying I don't want to talk about the soap story, but I'm going to start off by talking about the soap story. The only reason is because Lady C points out, empowering though the message was, there were 4 difficulties with the scenario, all of which were picked up on once Meghan and Harry started going out seriously, and the palace did the background checks that it does on all people who become closely involved with the royals. Firstly, Meghan was not 11 in 1995, as she had claimed, but 14. Secondly, Hillary Clinton was not First Lady in 1992, again, as she had claimed, when Meghan was 11, but became First Lady in 1993 when Meghan was 12. Thirdly, there is no evidence that her sole letter altered the course of history. I love that sentence so much. Procter & Gamble did change its tagline, but it was optimistic, that's a polite way of saying bullshit, of Meghan to suppose that it did so as a result of one letter written by an 11 or even 14-year-old Meghan Markle. Lastly, no advertising agency could replace an advertisement in a month. Advertisers take months to prepare. There are parts of advertising campaigns in which spontaneity and responsiveness of the sort to which Meghan was laying claim simply do not exist. So basically, we've gone over this in Revenge. We've gone over it here. It sounds like it's bullshit. It sounds like it's just complete bullshit. And what Lady C's point of view is that, you know how when you write, well, I think it happens with the royals too. You can write certain people, a president or something like that, and get just a nice generic response back, I think. So Lady C goes on to say, in fairness to Meghan, she's a creature of Hollywood. The values there are different from those of palaces. Fantasy and self-promotion are not frowned upon, nor is exaggeration, all of which are viewed as valid tools for getting your message across. So, just as I said with Tom Bower, it's in what he says and in what he's not saying. With Lady C, it seems to be in what she says and her regal way of saying things. I think that is her very regal way of saying Meghan full of shit. She goes into Meghan's upbringing. We've heard it a million times. She reiterates the thing that we've all heard, which is, sounds like Doria was in and out of her life. She doesn't specify exactly why. I believe that part's coming from Tom Bower, hopefully soon. Come on, Tom Bower. Thomas was her rock. He was always there for her, taking care of her, making sure she was provided for, paying for expensive school. You know, we know the stories. Let's jump over to Harry and what's up with that guy. I do want to point out one other thing, and another reason why I love Lady C, and you will too. She had actually invited Thomas Markle to come stay with her, and he was going to. And then, unfortunately, that's when he had his, I believe that's when he had his stroke. But he was meant to come stay with Lady C. So he sounds like he was a lot when he was a kid. They do talk about his days at Eton and how, according to Lady C, the school had to alter its academic requirements so that Harry could pass tests. And even then, he'd fail them to the despair of his masters. There are stories of, like Sarah Forsyth, for example. She was an art mistress who ended up suing Eton for unfair dismissal. She maintained that she had been asked to assist Harry with text for his expressive art project. So a lot of bending the rules to help him. There was evidence suggesting that Eton got very creative with Harry. And what I mean is they would try to mark his examinations and different things more positive than they actually were. She does point out that William was an excellent student. He was recognized both by his teachers and by other pupils. He had done very well academically, and he was athletic as well. He got along with his peers. He ended up getting elected into this group of prefects who ran the school. He'd be chosen as head of this. It's a whole honorary thing. He was very popular. Talking about William, of course. The same could not be said of Harry. A parent of one of Harry's contemporaries told Lady C, quote, Harry was not liked. He was antagonistic, it sounds like. He was an angry young man. Lady C says, quote, Harry had a definite chip on his shoulder and it made him unpopular. Harry would later claim that he struggled not only academically but with sports. Although he still excelled in them, even rugby was a problem because boys, quote, would see me on the rugby field as an opportunity to smash me up. The truth is, that was only part of the problem. Harry could be needlessly vitriolic, such as when he was pitted against a Jewish opponent from one of the other top public schools and he hurled anti-Semitic abuse at him. So this came straight from her book, and she says she learned of this because she talked to a priest who was at the school with the boy that this happened to. So I'm kind of gliding over this part because most of this we had heard about the officer training course at Sandhurst and how we've heard a lot about it. But according to Lady C, by 2006, Harry he'd been way more straightened out than he had been when he first entered Sandhurst. He completed his training. He was commissioned a cornet, which is a second lieutenant. Anyway, so Harry had finally come of age and started to find himself. William, of course, had enrolled at Sandhurst, having graduated from St. Andrews in Scotland. I love Scotland. So then we go over to Meghan. She had attended Northwestern. From here we go into chapter 3. Again, kind of breezing over this until we get into the good stuff, because you know that's what I'm here for. But it sounds like Tom truly did, if you can believe every book we've read, Tom truly did everything for Meghan. Anything that she needed, he provided for, from financial support to support when she was auditioning. According to Lady C, it didn't matter whether Meghan succeeded on the big or small screen, nor even whether she got her big break via commercials. All that mattered was that she was going to become as big a star as she could, and he was there helping her along the way. What Lady C does go into is that Meghan had ambitions in spades. That's something we've also heard. Her ambitiousness goes way beyond her discernible attributes, meaning that any success she achieved would be down to her character more than anything else. I did highlight a couple of sentences I just want to read because I think it sums up something that we've seen. Meghan refused to give up. No matter how dejected she became at times, she firmly believed that she was special, that she was better than others perceived her to be. I would say maybe stop it, better than others. At least that's how she perceives herself. That she was so bright and resourceful that she would be able to convert any opportunity into something more major once she got her foot through the door. I would say again that still translates because she set her sights on something and she made it happen. However horrendously it turned out. So we know that Meghan's first break, I guess, was on the movie. Remember, A Lot Like Love with Ashton Kutcher? She played, quote, hot girl and had, I think, one or two words that she spoke. Well, what I didn't realize is that this happened because her friend from Northwestern, Lindsay Roth, had a casting job on the movie. So she pitched Meghan, and Meghan got it. Meghan, according to Lady C, informed the director, Nigel Cole, that she had read the script and thought she'd be better suited for a larger role, which he did not give her. But she did get this role, and this kind of started things off for her. So then we go into the Trevor of it all. I'm going to breeze over this because I didn't see new information too much coming up here. We know he was a producer. They hooked up. They were living together. It took some of the pressure off of her financially. He seemed to be making good money. Now, an interesting part here is Lady C goes into this, and I didn't know this. Meghan's rage was something which she kept well concealed until she started writing an anonymous blog called The Working Actress. I didn't know about this one. In it, she revealed how distressing she found it when she was turned down or not considered for roles which she knew she was perfect for, even though no one else agreed with her. She wrote about the distressing time she took to crying her eyes out. I had to hesitate and laugh. I was waiting for the part where she's crying on the floor. But she took to her bed, crying her eyes out with a bottle of wine and bread for comfort because she had not got some role that she had yearned for. Her hunger for success was never exceeded by the pain of rejection and frustration of not being acknowledged the way she yearned to be. But the blog showed that she was a close-run thing. In it, she was open about her self-pity, pain, and while she did not spell it out, beneath that lay fury. Boy, have we seen that. Just look at the screen if you don't know what I'm talking about. Good Lord. So you have his fury and her fury. It seems like a really great couple, right? So then we get to the part where she got her role in Suits. Again, we know this, so I'm going to get to the good stuff. So it was about the third season of 7 of Suits, during which Meghan played Rachel Zane, that her marriage to Trevor started to unravel. So she goes into how Meghan began to despise Trevor because she started to look down on him. And she felt like she had moved up and he had not. He wasn't doing as well as she'd liked him to. And moreover, his exuberant personality had started to grate on her now that she was mixing with a more refined circle. So Lady C goes into how Meghan had had a change of heart concerning Trevor, and that, according to her, it struck Trevor just out of the blue. That she knew it had been brewing for a while. He had no idea. Nikki Pretty, her former friend, a very close friend, the one that she'd gone to England and taken the pictures outside of Buckingham Palace, that friend had a similar experience with her. According to Nikki's interpretation of Meghan's motives, having found herself a new, more, quote, classy circle of friends. Now, this is funny because classy comes up a lot. Meghan apparently used the word classy all the time around this time. So it's just funny because I would not use that word to refer to Meghan Markle. Anyway, having found a new classy circle of friends, she did not wish to be bogged down with her embarrassing misfit of a husband or even her old and less establishment circle of friends. Once she decides you're not part of her life, she can be very cold. It's this shutdown mechanism she has. There's nothing to negotiate. She's made her decision and that's it, Nikki said, explaining how Meghan dropped the axe on Trevor as well as on her old circle of friends. Having achieved a new, more elegant circle and a degree of renown in successful TV show, it was like a light switched off. There's Meghan before fame and Meghan after fame. After 3 seasons of Suits, she called me to say that her marriage was over. Maybe she had started to change before then, and I was refusing to see it. So that Nikki Pretty goes on to explain that they had had a lifelong friendship, but there were 2 straws that did it for her in terms of letting go of Meghan. The first was when Meghan fell in love with a rescue dog and tried to take it away from someone who had displayed interest in it before Meghan did. She emailed the pet people asserting that the dog would have a better life in the Suits family than it would with the other prospective owner. Nikki felt that she was playing the, quote, Suits card, I love that, to gain advantage to which she had no entitlement, and it left a sour taste in her mouth. Meghan, of course, had another take on it entirely. She wanted the dog and was prepared to do whatever it took to get it. She would never have thought she was being ruthless, just clever and using everything at her disposal to get her own way, being a winner. The death knell of the friendship became the way Meghan behaved toward the end of her marriage with Trevor. Nikki was bemused with the way she ended the relationship, simply posting back her wedding ring and engagement rings without any explanation, leaving him feeling like something was stuck to the bottom of her shoe. Although there had always been, quote, fights between them, there had been no warning that the relationship was even under threat, much less that it was in the danger of coming to an end. Nikki, who was friendly with both Meghan and Trevor, telephoned her lifelong friend to speak to her about it after seeing Trevor and learning what she'd regarded as being the callous and brutal way in which Meghan ended the marriage. But Meghan refused to impart any wisdom or any information to the best friend she had had since the age of 2. Nikki felt that she had not only changed personality, but also developed a new circle and really couldn't be bothered with her old one anymore. It was obvious to me that she wasn't the friend I'd grown up with, Nikki said, and decided to cut her out of her life entirely. People who have known Meghan all of her life believe it was that Nikki was wise to jump. Had she not done so, she might as well have been pushed. So at least there's a comfort of doing the dropping. That was not consolation her father would have. So from here, she meets Corey, that very good-looking chef. They hook up. They were living together when she met Harry. We'll get into that. And then, of course, Harry had dated Chelsea as well as Cressida. And then Harry met Meghan. We are told that story about how they were set up through their friend Violet, who happened to know William and Harry. Now, interestingly, Violet has never confirmed that she played Cupid. To quote Lady C, she wouldn't, would she? Lady C brings up Meghan's own account, quote, when she wanted to set us up, I had one question. Is he nice? Because if he wasn't kind, then it didn't seem like it would make sense. Meghan was displaying just the right degree of reluctance as it reassured Violet that she was truly the lovely, sweet, personable, loving young woman that she was appearing to be. She continued to be seen like this until she and Harry were about to get married. It was only then that cracks began to emerge and the perfect facade she had hitherto presented to the royal world. But no one is perfect, and few people believed that Meghan would be anything but a positive addition to the royal family, while none could have imagined that within a year of matrimony, she was laying ground for her and Harry to step down as senior royals. Woo! So good. So good. We're getting into the good stuff now, and I'm here for it. So that's chapter 2 and most of chapter 3. We'll finish chapter 3 in the next one, and we'll pick right up in chapter 4. I'm enjoying the heck out of this book. I know some of it we kind of have to get through because we've been through it a million times, but I love seeing Lady C's take on things and having that little bit extra dirt on all the situations. I love it. I'm here for it. Love Lady C. It's definitely got me way more interested in what she has to say about this stuff. It's fascinating. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and for supporting the show. And if you want to further support, again, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/realhousewivesrecaps, where you can become an executive producer. So I would like to thank my executive producers so much for all the support. So a huge thank you to you guys for supporting this show. I really appreciate it. So a huge thank you to Kristen, Thank you, Linda. Thank you to Melissa. Huge thank you, Paige. Thank you to Teresa. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Mr. K. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Aaron and Frank. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Ann M. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Ann H. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Kay King. Thank you, Glynis. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Dewey. Thank you, Patty. Thank you to Adair Becker. Thank you to Erica. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Annette. Thank you, Barb G. Thank you, Diana LOL. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Allison B. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Pauline. And thank you, KT. Thank you, Jolene. Thank you, Stromboli. Thank you, Catherine. And thank you, Carla. Really appreciate all of you. If you've signed up recently, you don't see your name, don't worry, it's coming. I'm updating the list as quick as I can. But thank you all so much for joining and for supporting. And if you want to become an executive producer, check out patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Here for it. I can't wait to get into the next part of this book. I can't wait for more dirt and juice, and I really need to know what happened at that garden party. She teased it at the beginning. We haven't hit it yet, but I can't wait. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.